Good morning, aspirants. We are again back in Biology NAGRI with our continuing chapter, the digestive system. This video is lecture 4 of digestive system. In previous 3 lectures, we have talked from the beginning about the digestive system, and this lecture number 4. In this, we will discuss about the stomach, the small intestine, and the large intestine. So let's start from stomach. When we talk about stomach and we draw a structure of stomach, this is a J-shaped organ. This is a J-shaped organ. J-shaped organ having 4 parts, namely fundus, cardiac, third one is the body part. Yes, third one is the body, and last the pyloric part, which is also known as antrum. The pyloric part, which is also known as antrum. Yes, stomach is a J-shaped organ which are divided into 4 parts. The fundic, the first part, the second part is cardiac, body, and last one is the pyloric. When we will go through a old edition book, there is division in between 3 parts only. The stomach is divided into 3 parts, but in the new edition, stomach has been divided into 4 parts. This body part is added as a new. Okay, now we will talk about stomach. Stomach is a J-shaped muscular organ which is opened by esophagus. Yes, this is esophagus. Esophagus comes and opens into the stomach by a sphincter called the cardiac sphincter. The cardiac sphincter. Yes, this name of sphincter cardiac is on the name of the part of stomach. Now, the first part here is the fundic part. Second part in front of this cardiac sphincter is the cardiac part. Third part is the body, and last part is the pyloric part. So, just like the cardiac sphincter, there is also a sphincter present at the last portion of stomach, which is called the pyloric sphincter. The pyloric sphincter. Yes, the pyloric sphincter name is also on the name of a part of stomach. Now, the question arises. The fundic part, the cardiac part, body, and the pyloric. Pyloric part is also known as antrum. The fundic part, or we can also say that all our stomach contains the gastric glands. The gastric glands present in the fundus part secretes basically the mucus and the gastric juice. But the gastric glands present in the cardiac part releases pepsin, renin, along with HCl, and very much little amount of mucus also. Yes, we are familiar with these 2 gastric protein digestive enzymes, pepsin and renin. We know that pepsin and renin are 2 enzymes which will go further for the digestion of protein when the protein particle will come in the stomach. But until and unless the protein part has reached the stomach, they will be in inactive form. Yes, non-functional form. As soon the particle of protein is observed or has been captured that it is now present, then they will go and act as a digesting. Okay, they will digest the protein in the very smaller parts, because the smaller part will be easily absorbable for the body. Now, these 2 sphincters, the first the cardiac sphincter, the second the pyloric. Now, these pyloric sphincter overs and starts the small intestine. The small intestine. And after the stomach, now we are here for small intestine. Now let's discuss about small intestine. We know that in our body there are 2 intestines, a small intestine and a large intestine. But don't be confused by the name, because the name of small intestine is just a name. Because when we will compare their size, small intestine is larger than a large intestine. Yes, so I am repeating that, don't get confused in between small intestine and large intestine. Small intestine is a very large in size in compared to large intestine. So let's draw small intestine for the better understanding of the small intestine. This was the stomach, and after this stomach, the small intestine starts. Yes, this is a coiled structure, small intestine. Now, just like stomach, that was many parts of stomach, the fundus, cardiac, pylori, small intestine is also divided into 3 parts. Yes, this is small intestine is again divided into 3 parts, namely the duodenum, second the jejunum, third ileum. Now, the first part of small intestine is duodenum. Duodenum is a C-curve like structure and a coiled structure. Here in duodenum, the common bile duct which was carrying, yes, bilirubin and bilirubin is also coming, and in the root the pancreatic duct is also continuing with that common bile duct. Pancreas is sending the pancreatic juice through by pancreatic duct, and common bile duct is carrying the bilirubin, or we can combinedly say the bile juice. So these 2 ducts, the common bile duct and the pancreatic duct, also comes into the duodenum part of small intestine, the first part of small intestine. After the first part of small intestine, the second part is the jejunum. Jejunum is a highly coiled part of small intestine, and it is the longest part of small intestine, where many hair-like structures, villi, are present. So in small intestine, there are very small hair-like structures, villi are present. These villi absorb the nutrients from the digested food and get stored into lacteals. Yes, lacteals. Villi will absorb the nutrients from the digested food particles and get stored into lacteals. Okay. Now, there are also some specialized cells, circular cells, which are called crypts of liver Cohen. I am writing here crypts of liver Cohen. Yes, these are the specialized cells present in the small intestine which releases intestinal juice. And the name of this intestinal juice is succus intricus. And this intestinal juice, the succus intricus, is secreted by the crypts of liver Cohen of small intestine. And these intestinal juice, the succus intricus, will also help in digestion, because we know that small intestine is a main part of digestion and a last part of digestion. Because after the small intestine, as soon the food will enter in the large intestine, there will be no digestion, because small intestine is the last part of digestive system. That was not the matter that we always talk about from the mouth to the anus in the digestive tract, but the main last organ is the small intestine. Okay, now after jejunum, the highly coiled structure, the last part of small intestine is the ileum. Ileum is the last part of small intestine, and where the ileum ends, onwards the large intestine starts. So there is a valve in between the last part of small intestine, that is ileum, and the first part of large intestine, that is cecum. Now onward we will study the types of large intestine. Then we will say that the first part of large intestine is the cecum. So there is a valve present between the ileum, the last part of small intestine, and the cecum, the first part of large intestine. This valve is called ileocecal valve. Why it is called the ileocecal valve? Because it is present between the ileum and cecum part. Now we will study the large intestine. Now after the small intestine, it is term of large intestine. So when we talk about the large intestine is only the name the large intestine, but it is smaller than a small intestine. Okay. So the large intestine has also three parts. Let's draw a small diagram, because we know that biology is the subject of diagram. Without diagram we can't explain or understand a better concept of their mechanisms. So this is our large intestine where the small intestine ends, and these large intestine comes and lasts into the rectum and anus, the excretory parts. So this is our large intestine. So large intestine is also divided into three parts, namely the first part cecum, the second part colon, and the last part is rectum. But this colon are also further divided into parts, namely the ascending colon, the descending colon, third one is the transverse colon, and last is the sigmoid colon. Yes, now we will repeat. Large intestine is divided into three parts. First the cecum, second the colon, and last the rectum. But this colon are also divided into four parts: ascending colon, descending colon, transverse colon, and sigmoid colon. This one is the ascending colon. This one is the ascending colon. This one is the transverse colon because it is a transversal line. And now this is the descending colon. And last part here, it is sigmoid portion, the portion of sigmoid colon. And where the last part is the rectum, this is the rectum. Here the wastage or the fecal substance are stored for a period of time until and unless the call of nature is beyond. Okay. And after the order of CNS, when the certain amount of fecal matter will be stored into the rectum, it will be discharged from a body. Okay, so in human being, in the case of human being, we call it fecal matter or a fecal substance, the solid waste. Okay, now the first part is called cecum. There was a valve in between this cecum and the last part of small intestine, which was ileum. Yes, the ileocecal valve. This ileocecal valve inhibits the backflow of the food particle inside the small intestine. Okay. Now these colons, and through by these colons, there will be no digestion in the large intestine. Let me repeat. मैं इसको बार-बार repeat कर रहा हूँ. There is no digestion in large intestine. There was only digestion till small intestine, because small intestine was the last part of digestion. After the digestion, it enters in the large intestine. Large intestine just plays a role as a track for the excretion. Okay, this is rectum, anus. Rectum is just for the temporary store of fecal matter until the CNS orders for that, for a call of nature. I think the concept of stomach, small intestine and large intestine are very much clear to all of you. So we will continue for the next chapter in our next lecture. Thank you.